What's up, guys? I'm Jack, and this is Daisy. Daisy, come here. Say hi. Good job. And welcome to another video. So today we're going to be beating Elden Ring as Radahn. So yeah, I did put a poll up like a week or two ago, and it asked which one I should do first, Radahn or Dragon Priestess. And it just made more sense to do Radahn first in terms of efficiency, so that's why this is coming out earlier. Though, if I do finish the Dragon Priestess run before this posts, I'll just post that one first, and then this will come out the week after instead. So we'll see. I'm recording this like 5 days before it's supposed to be posted anyway, so... Anyway, what are the rules of this run? So I can only use Radahn's Remembrance gear, and I have to be wearing his armor at all times. I have to cycle through each weapon for each boss, so after I beat a Remembrance boss, I have to use the next weapon in the list. Third, no damage buffing incantations. Fourth, not going to use any summons, not even Alexandra this time. And finally, I have to get all Remembrances in the base game. Oh, and no glitches. And I'm sure you guys know this, but normally I do a low vigor rule. I kind of messed that up later on in the run, so that's why it's not included in today's run, but for most of it I do stick to under 30 vigor. And before we truly get started, I just want to say thank you to all of you for coming to watch these videos every week. I know I say it every week, but it really does mean the world that you guys are here, and I appreciate each and every one of you, especially my members, Micah and Mary. You guys are amazing, but all of you, seriously, means the world. So this is on New Game Plus, and since it's on New Game Plus, I already have all of the flasks and tiers that I need, so I can basically just sprint through everything without having to worry about collecting stuff, which is so nice. And I should probably get Shadow of the Erdtree on PC so I could just skip the whole collecting process every time I want to make a new character for a run. That would be a good investment, I think. So first up, we are of course going through Stormveil to take out Godric the Grafted, and this is not going to be a very difficult fight. We're pretty over leveled. Our weapon is going to absolutely destroy this boy, and yeah, the first half of this run isn't going to be very difficult at all. But don't worry, it definitely gets there. So what weapons can we use? So there are 3 sets of swords that Radahn uses, and they all have the same moveset, they just have slightly different Ashes of War. And also Radahn's Great Bow, the Lion Great Bow, and that one is pretty good. So that's kind of what's unique about these weapons other than the Ash of War. Now they are very, very slow, and honestly they don't deal as much poise damage as I thought they would. And with all of Radahn's weapons being unique, we don't have any access to any status effects. No bleed, no poison, no scarlet rot, no sleep. Yeah. In fact, we only deal physical damage and magic damage this entire fight. Well, this entire run in general, actually. What's interesting is Radahn has, again, 2 other swords that we can use, and it looks like they do holy damage, because it has Miquella's Light as the Ashes of War, essentially, but it deals magic damage. It's weird. At least that's what Fexture Life's website says. They're usually pretty spot on about these things, so I'm going to trust it. And yeah, I'm not really talking about the Godric fight, because, I mean, look at this. It's pathetic. I really wish I died there. That would have been really funny. Yeah, me just saying, oh, he's pathetic, and then just dying. Yeah. But no, we took out Godric pretty easily. So that weapon was Radahn's swords from the base game, and I'm going to refer to them by their Ashes of War to make this less confusing. So we use Starcaller Cry first. Next up is Promised Consort Swords. I make my way through Liurnia of the Lakes, grab the Academy Glintstone Key, and head up to Caria Manor in order to talk to Ranni, because we do have to do part of her questline in order to face one of the Remembrance bosses. I take out Royal Knight Loretta, and I was very confused as to why the swords weren't doing that much damage to her. And then later on is when I learned that, oh, they actually deal magic damage, not holy damage. After talking to Ronnie, I make my way through the academy in order to get to Rennala. And running through the academy was a breeze. These swords one-shot every basic enemy in our path, and yeah, even Moongrim couldn't stand up to our might. So Rennala heavily resists magic damage, so we might not have an easy time with this, maybe? Possibly? Well, these swords also do some pretty massive physical damage, so yeah, maybe this will be pretty easy after all. It's always a good test of damage to see if we can one-phase Rennala right here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think we'll be fine. Isn't it so weird that that does magic damage? That looks like holy damage right there, but whatever. Anyway, as you guys saw, phase 1 was a breeze, and phase 2 shouldn't be much more difficult. Honestly, might even be easier. Because this Ash of War can actually put Rennala on the ground, which I find to be hilarious. As long as we can get a full combo off, she's flat on her face. It's great. That also works against Malenia, by the way. And I love this Ash of War. It is so much fun. It's so great for clearing out waves of enemies, or even taking on bosses with less poise like Rennala. The bosses with more poise can kind of just, you know, poise through it and then smack us right back and disrupt our combo or just take us out. So it doesn't work against all bosses, but when it does work, it is great. Rennala down. We're gonna head up to Altus Plateau next and grab a Site of Grace in order to activate the Radahn Festival, which is really nice. I can't believe they threw a festival in our name. I've always wanted to have a festival named after me. Well, I don't think that'll happen, but maybe they'll name one after Daisy, the Daisy Festival. There's probably already one of those. She definitely deserves it. Okay, so we do make it up to Altus, and we rest at this Site of Grace, and then we're gonna head over to Caelid. It didn't take us long to make our way through Caelid and eventually to this castle where the Radahn Festival is being held. And it turns out that a stray mimic here must have gotten loose, and he got pretty large by ingesting the bodies around here. So we're gonna have to take him out. There can only be one Radahn in the lands between, and that is gonna be me. So we are on to the third sword. This one I'm gonna call Lightspeed Slash, and this Ash of War is so cool, and I like it a lot. I think it's my favorite out of the three. I guess it's supposed to be Radahn's phase transition giant meteor attack where he comes out of the sky and, you know? The visuals are just sick on this Ash of War, and it doesn't do the best damage, I'll be completely honest. But it is really quick and easy to use, and it has some decent range, so overall, very good. I also brought the other sword in, Promised Consort, the other new sword, and that was so we could fight Decrepit, Scarlet Rotted Radahn as Prime Radahn, you know? I thought it would be, ironic? No, that's not the right word. Like, full circle? God, what is the term I'm thinking of? Please help. Kind of like a good character contrast between the two. Oh my god, this is killing me. A good parallel, maybe? I'm sure there's a better term. That's the best I can think of. Anyway, phase 1 was pretty easy. We used, again, both Ashes of War to take him down, and they both worked pretty well. I think Promised Consort definitely does a bit more damage, but it is easier to hit a Lightspeed Slash considering it's much quicker. And I think we lost that duel right there. That's unfortunate. The only thing I have trouble with in phase 2 is, well, our meteors that he throws at us. So as long as we can finish up phase 2 before he chucks those meteors at us, we should be a-okay. Nice. That was pretty cinematic. Could have been a better camera angle, but that's fine. Radahn down, and we are going to continue moving. So I head over to Grail's Dragon Barrow in order to get to the Divine Tower of Caelid, because on top of that we can grab Radahn's Great Rune, which we are going to, have on for most of this run. Oh my god, look at how many arrows are through that guy's head. I wonder who did that. Who would do such an evil thing? So we're heading down to the Underworld next, and we just have to take out a couple of bosses down there, nothing too crazy. Astel's there, the Remembrance boss that everybody forgets is a Remembrance boss is down there. Lich Dragon Fortissax is down there. And another Stray Mimic Deer is down here, which we take out pretty quickly and easily. And he was basically no threat because when I walked up to him, I unequipped all my weapons, so he could only punch us, which did like no damage. Freaking idiot. That stupid dum-dum doo-doo head. And we beat him up pretty quickly, grabbed the Finger Slayer blade, lit some fires, and now it's time to fight the deer. So I think it's pretty well known at this point that the Regal Ancestor Spirit is basically on the level of Godric in terms of difficulty, which is to say he's pretty easy. But this time we are actually moving on to using our bow, which, fun fact, I've rarely ever used bows. Ever. And I've never used this bow. So Radahn's Rain, the Ash of War on this bow, is amazing, especially if you're using Radahn's spears as the great arrows. It just does so much damage, and it has pretty good range too. It was a lot more effective than I thought it was going to be, and it may be our only hope at defeating Rykard later on in this run. And if you guys are curious, that is the boss that I dread the most in the main game. I hate him so much. Obviously, he's really easy if you're using the Serpent Hunter, but if you're not, he's just the worst. The worst. But I don't think we'll have too many problems with him this run because we have Radahn's Rain, which again does really good damage from a distance. It also does fantastic damage against the Regal Ancestor Spirit right here, and it would have been really cool if they made him take extra damage from like bows, considering, he's a deer. And people hunt deer with bows. Well, we hunted this guy, and he's taken care of, so we're on to the next boss. The Gargoyle Duo. I both love and hate them. Sometimes this can be a really unfair fight, but they don't have too much health, especially if you have a decent build, so they're generally not too difficult if you're prepared for them. But I wasn't exactly prepared, so I ended up dipping out of there before they took me out. So thankfully we're still at 0 deaths, and we're doing pretty good as far as no deaths go. And for my second attempt, I swapped over to the Lightspeed / Ash of War sword, just because it's so much quicker than Starcaller Cry. Starcaller Cry does way more damage for sure, but Lightspeed / is just safer to use. And safety is the name of the game. Well, actually the name of this game is Elden Ring, but that's just a phrase. A colloquial metaphor. Yeah, big words. Okay, we ran through the Deeproot Deaths and ran into Fierce Champions who... Oh, that was so satisfying. And I grabbed the Side of Grace there for later. Next, we head through Ainzel River, Maine. And my god, I always forget how long it takes to get to Astel. Next up is the Lake of Rot. And I'm just going to speed this up. We sprint right through it. I don't even bother activating any of the elevator thingies. And we make it through relatively unscathed. Honestly, I don't know why Radahn didn't just use the Preserving Bolus right here. Could have saved him a lot of pain. Same with Malenia. Like, why have Scarlet Rot? Just don't. Just don't. It's kind of like, when people die by drowning. Like, just drink the water. So we're using Starcaller Cry for Astel back to the sword, and that's going to be the general order that we go in. Starcaller Cry to Promised Consort to Lightspeed Slash to the bow. And then just keep doing that over and over again. So since this sword does so much physical damage, as long as we hit Astel's head up here, we should be pretty good. I don't think we're going to have a big problem with this fight. And this is definitely the furthest I've ever gotten with a no-death run, which is pretty fun. I'm definitely hoping to complete that at some point in the future. That would be awesome. So both our Ash of War and our regular attacks deal a pretty decent amount of damage to Astel. Yeah, this should be just fine. And this is around peak playtime for me. So let me tell you how my brain works. We've been playing this for about 2.5 hours. The first half hour was basically just collecting items, so I didn't count that in the timer. So the first hour and a half, I'm still getting used to playing and getting my brain in the right headspace to be good at playing games. After that, from an hour and a half to about 2.5 hours, that's when is peak playtime for me. And then after 2.5 hours, that's when my brain gets a little bit sleepy and is like, okay, come on, maybe do something else with your life. And from 2.5 hours to about 4 hours, that's when I play like okay, but not great. And then around the 4-hour mark is when I start sucking. And anything past 4 hours, I just play like absolute garbage. And you guys are going to see that during this playthrough as well. That's why I could never do one of those streams where you have to play until you finish something. Good God. At least not for Elden Ring. Maybe for something like Pokemon shiny hunting I could do that. Actually no, that would be living hell. So far we've tanked through most of Astel's attacks. We have really good armor for once, which is so nice. I never realized that we could tank so much damage without dying. It's crazy. That and the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman. Oh, that's not good. Wow. That barely did anything. But yeah, the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman definitely helps out a bunch. As does the Spelldrake Talisman +3. That's the one that negates magic damage, which Astel does too. And this armor, again, is just really good, so she can't really do enough damage to us to take us out. But we can certainly hit her pretty hard. Let's finish this fight. So with most of the underworld bosses taken out, we're just missing Fortissax, but we're gonna wait for him. We head back to Altus Plateau, the most beautiful area in the base game, I think. My God, I would live here. It's so cool. So beautiful. Yeah. And we take out the Draconic Tree Sentinel. He definitely gave us some problems, but we survived, and that's all that matters. I also make a quick pit stop to talk to Ranni and grab the Carrion Inverted Statue just for later, so I don't forget. And we continue our journey through Leyndell, running across the golden rooftops and making our way ever closer to the Great Erd Tree itself. Now I do make a quick pit stop to grab the, what's it called? The Gravelstone Seal. That boosts Dragon Cult incantations, which is going to be our next run. And this is where we suffer our first death. And it was a stupid death. And I lost all of my momentum here. We do get it on our second try without dying, thankfully. And, man, this is just a real kick to the knackers. I'm not even gonna lie about that. That was rough. In fact, like I said, we really lost all of our momentum, and yeah. We suffered our second death already. Against Golden Godfrey, of all bosses. Second try went a lot better, and we gotta rebuild that momentum and get back into the gaming mindset. Golden Godfrey's down, onto Morgott, and usually I lose to this guy, so I didn't have high hopes of a first try victory. And I'm sure you all noticed by now, but I have the Deflecting Hard tier on. That's the one that lets you parry, essentially. And I did get some pretty good use out of it during this fight, which is pretty cool, because I've never really been good at this fight with the parries. Our saving grace during this fight is the armor. Again, it is so good. It has so much damage negation. That being said though, we are basically always going to be at medium roll. I am never at light roll throughout this entire run, which sucks. I really miss having light roll. I haven't had that in a couple of runs actually. But we are definitely going to have that during the Dragon Priestess run, that's for sure. So phase 1 went pretty well. We actually took him down pretty quickly, but we got messed up at the start of phase 2. I just couldn't dodge anything. But that's okay, we healed up, and we still have a bunch of flasks of Crimson Tears, and we should be pretty good. Maybe. Hopefully. As long as we can back up enough to heal up again. And maybe again. As long as we don't get caught up in one of his stupid long combos that can probably take us out from full health, I imagine we'll be okay. And we actually have a stupid long combo of our own for this guy. As long as we can catch him up in it. Is that even the way to phrase that? Well, anyway, he's nearly dead. I really want a poise break here. Let's not die. Let's block some attacks. Let's get a poise break right here. Okay, never mind. We back up, narrowly escaping death, and we heal up once more. Come on, hit him. One more guard counter, I swear we'll have a poise break. Nope. Okay, we're just not gonna have one this fight then. It's fine, we don't even need it anyway. God, I suck. Oh my god. How many times have we been close to death during this fight? Okay, well, he's dead. We tanked through everything, and not proud of it, but we won, and that's what counts. Onto the mountaintops of the giants next, and the fire giant is next up on our list of enemies to destroy. I didn't do Alexander's questline because we already have his shard from the last playthrough, and that means we're going to be alone during this fight. But that's fine, the fire giant isn't known to be the most difficult boss. He has a lot of health, and he hits pretty hard, but he's slow. But then again, we're pretty slow too, so yeah, this will be interesting. You know, I was wondering why I was feeling fatigued and I had a headache and my stomach hurt, but then I realized that I hadn't eaten anything earlier, and also I hadn't had any water today, just like coffee. So that was why. I just took a break, I made some food and drank some actual water, and it's been a few hours and now I feel a lot better. So we're getting back into the recording. So yeah, fire giant. Again, the one thing that I don't really like about these swords is that they don't really do that much poise damage. So it did take a few hits for us to even break his little ankle poise check thing. But once we did, I mean, we do pretty good damage with each hit. These things have really high base damage, especially on the physical aspect. So yeah, this went pretty decently. I think obviously a bleed or frost build for the fire giant is the easiest way to take him down. But, hi Daisy, a strong physical build will also do that pretty well, as long as you don't get stomped down like I just did. I mean, still though, we're like 40% done with this entire run, and we've only had 2 deaths so far, so that's pretty good. I would definitely like to keep it under 100, but we'll see. We do have to fight Malenia this time, which I am really excited for. I love fighting Malenia. She is one of my favorite bosses, probably my favorite boss in this game actually. She's just so much fun to fight, especially with the deflecting hard tier. One of the greatest items in the game, by the way. So much fun. Definitely try it out if you haven't. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. So the entirety of phase 1 for the fire giant though was just us running up and trying to hit him with our jumping light attack, and he would just run away, and then we would have to chase him again, and then he would run, and yeah. Phase 1, pretty stupid simple, but quite annoying when he would run. And we also used up a lot of healing flasks, so that's not great. We're gonna blame it on the fact that we have to medium roll rather than light roll, and not that we just suck, which we do, but we're gonna say it was the medium roll. You know, I buy Daisy all these toys and stuff, and she just grabbed a piece of a wrapper from an oatmeal packet and she won't stop playing with that. I just bought her some new toys, and of course she goes for the oatmeal wrapper. Speaking of food though, I have no idea what I'm going to do for this cooking segment, or the next one. I haven't made anything fun, like, at all recently. Maybe I'll do pierogies, I haven't done those in a while. Oh wait, I think I did that for a previous one. I'll figure it out. Oh, I have to learn how to make sushi. That's right. I tried making it one time, and I wasn't following a recipe, and it was pretty good, but it didn't really stick together too well, so I gotta figure that out. Anyway, Fire Giant's about 80% dealt with, and we're full health, we got full mana. Should be alright. I just need to stop making dumb plays like that, where I go for an attack rather than dodge his attacks. I only have one healing flask left, and I'd rather not have to use it. Right as we were underneath the Fire Giant trying to hit his big eye, his crit spot, he used his fire breathing attack, and we tried to escape it, but just couldn't make it. He charged up for another one, we got on our horse, and he caught us. That's our third death. Alright, attempt 2. We make it to about the same spot. I'm not using a great rune this time because I'm currently out and I need to buy more. But he's not using his fire breath attack yet, so that's good. In fact, we managed to position ourselves perfectly with his flame column attack? I don't know what to call that. And we get a good poise break, allowing us to almost take him out. We just weren't quick enough with the riposte. We chase him down because he loves to run, and our Ash of War doesn't really deal great damage, but it would be a fun way to take him down. Lightspeed Slash is very visually appealing, and the name is just super cool. Sounds so anime, and yeah, pretty cool stuff. Alright, one more hit should do it. As long as we can get up close to him, should be fine. Cool. Cool. Well, now we gotta make our way through Farum Azula, and there are 2 bosses here. Dragon Lord plus Fortissax, who I expect we'll have a couple of deaths with, and of course Maliketh. On the way, we do have to fight the Godskin duo, and I put them to sleep with some sleep pots because I'm not crazy, I don't want to fight them without sleep pots. But even with sleep pots, they were still pretty difficult. I did eventually figure out how many hits it would take to poise break them, which was pretty helpful. But we ended up losing all of our healing flasks by the end of the fight. It was a close one. The strat was to basically hide behind the pillars and get off an Ash of War, so it would usually hit them both. And we managed to do just that to finish them off. But our fight isn't over yet. In fact, a 3rd Godskin Noble spawns in, and what are you doing here, dude? He's not letting me rest at the site of grace. I don't even have any healing left. I don't want to die to him, but okay. Thankfully, this guy is not that bad to fight on his own. It's just when there's 2 of them that it becomes difficult. So we get a poise break, or a post that takes him down to nearly 0 health, and a couple more attacks should do the trick. I don't know why this guy spawned in, I guess just weird timing, but he's done for. We can rest at the site of grace and move on. First time that's ever happened to me. So we get to beside the Great Bridge, and we have to make our way down to Dragon Lord plus Fortissax next. And it's a bit of a run, so I'm really hoping that we don't have to reset a couple of times, because that would suck. I hate doing that run every time we fight him. So we spawn in the arena, and I realize we don't have nearly enough arrows to take this guy down. And that's a problem because the Lion Great Bow is the next weapon on our list to use against a boss. So we have to do that run all over again. That's fun. But at least we're prepared this time, so a first try victory is not out of the picture here. I've seen some videos about how Radagon's Rain is really good against Fortissax, so I guess we're going to see how it works. Now, unfortunately, there aren't any bleed or sleep or frost grade arrows. In fact, there are only a couple of different options. Most of them just do pure physical damage, and one of them does holy damage. so we don't have many choices. Radahn spears are definitely the best ones to use for this weapon. That being said, even without status effects, this does a really good amount of damage, especially because we can cast it from a range. That's not bad. It really only took us 5 or 6 shots to get him into the second phase. Yeah, this is definitely working a lot better than I thought. Plus, if this build was optimized, it'd be doing even better, which would be awesome. Like, imagine having Flame grant me strength and, what else is there? Golden Vow and the Jellyfish Shield and Howl of Shabriri and, all the buffs for multi-hit stuff. Dude, we'd be shredding this guy. But even without all those, we are still doing really well. I mean, he's down to what, 3rd health already? Such a quick fight. Hi, Daisy. Yeah, if you're ever having trouble with the Fortissax, I would actually recommend trying out this weapon. Or maybe a bow with the Rain of Arrows, Ash of War, and Bleed Arrows maybe? That might be even better. Who knows? Dang, I really want to do a bow-only playthrough. That'd be so much fun. That'd be sick. Okay, I'll see about doing that in the future. I'll probably forget. Anyway, we get him into his 3rd phase, and this is the moment of truth, really, because once he slams down, he's going to start his big laser beam attack, and if we can't dodge that, we're done for. Okay, yeah, we're done for. And that's death number 4. So we try again, same exact thing. This time I get caught in the fire, death number 5. Oh my god. Next attempt, we do make it back to the 3rd phase, and we manage to tank through a single laser beam, thanks to our Ritual Shield Talisman, and that allows us to get back up close, and hopefully finish the job, so that we don't have to worry about that elevator ever again. Please, don't let it hurt me anymore. Okay, well, the Fortissax is down and our suffering has just begun. As it usually does, our first attempt went pretty well. Maliketh only deals physical damage during the first phase, which makes it really easy to counter his attacks without taking too much damage. That being said, I still kind of suck at countering stuff, so didn't always go as planned. Especially because this was the 4th consecutive hour that I was playing this game, and I was starting to get pretty bad. But that's okay. We should be fine because every swing from our sword does a lot of damage. It really only takes a handful of hits for us to get him to the 2nd phase. Especially if we can manage to land an Ash of War on him. Well, full Ash of War from our Starcaller Cry. We do manage to get a poise break, which is awesome. Honestly, 2 more hits and we're into the 2nd phase already. Should be easy stuff. Okay, I need a break. Alright, so it's time to make some food, and today we are making some vegetarian sushi. and that's just because I'm allergic to shellfish and seafood, so I tend to stay away from that. And I've never made sushi before. Actually, that's a lie. I did try once like last week, but it didn't come out too well because I wasn't following a recipe. But I've learned this time. So we start off with some carrots and asparagus, and I put those in the oven with some olive oil to let those bake. Next up, we're going to cook some rice, and we do 2 cups of water and 1 cup of rice. After that, we bring the water almost to a boil, and once it's pretty close, we lower the heat down to about medium low before we put the rice in. And we're basically just going to let that cook up until the rice absorbs all the water. I also got some seaweed paper, and I tried it raw, and it wasn't very good. It was a good try. Now the rice is finally done, and again, you can tell that because it's absorbed all the water, and we're going to add some salt, some lemon juice, a little bit of soy sauce, and some cornstarch to keep it all together. I mixed it around, and then we're going to spread it evenly along our seaweed paper. And I would definitely use 3 pieces of seaweed paper for this rather than 2. It was a bit heavy on the rice, but again, this is like my first time, so, still figuring it out. After that, we cover it with some paper towels or napkins, whatever you have, and we put our soft veggies in the middle of our rice. Well, kind of towards the edge. I was also going to add some avocado to it, but it wasn't ripe, and I tried to ripen it by putting it in the oven, but it didn't work. Well, now that our veggies are laid down, I'm going to go ahead and roll it up very carefully and gingerly. Again, I had no idea if this was going to stick or what even to do, so I just tried my best, and it worked. It stayed together. So we roll up the other one, and then we go ahead and slice everything up into thin slices. Well, not too thin. You'll see. Yeah, roughly like 2 centimeters, I'd say, thick. Yeah, like that thick. Now after that, we are gonna have to do the chopstick test to see if everything stays together. And that's pretty good. Okay, we might need to try another. Hang on. Yeah, definitely gonna need to try another. Attempt number 2 does go a lot better, and everything stays together. It's delicious. Okay, we're gonna need to give it one more try though. After that depressing failure, I plated everything up with some more soy sauce and some sliced ginger, and it came out really, really good. It's a bit thick on the rice, but again, first real attempt. I'm proud of it. It was delicious. Back to the video. After that, I went to bed and saved my attempts for the next day. My first attempt ended in failure, unfortunately, but my second attempt is when we were finally able to get a win against Maliketh right here. And since my computer had to update, our fun timer had to reset on us, unfortunately. Good lord. Okay, maybe it wasn't the second attempt after all. Well, you know what they say. Third try the next day is the charm, and we managed to get a poise break right off the rip and land a nasty Ash of War, taking him down to barely any health. Maliketh was on his last legs. We only need to hit 2 more light attacks or 1 more Ash of War. We can finally move on from this suffering. Yeah, this fight wasn't even close to the worst one in this run, by the way. Gideon, however, was no issue whatsoever. First try victory, and you're only seeing 3 extra deaths in the death counter because I forgot to add those into my Maliketh deaths earlier. But took Gideon down, and it's on to Godfrey, who wrecked our stuff. First try, we didn't even get him into the second phase. Second try, we almost took him down, and third try, well, you're seeing that right now. As long as I am not playing like absolute dog shit, I generally find this fight pretty easy. Dodging his attacks is not too difficult because he does telegraph them pretty well, at least in the first phase. Phase 2, he goes on some pretty long combos and whatnot. And since all of his attacks except for his big ground slam attack are physical, we have a pretty easy time blocking those and guard countering. Now, I definitely wasn't playing at my best, but I wasn't playing at my worst either. That being said, I was noticing a significant difficulty increase with the bosses now compared to the bosses earlier. I'm sure you remember, but earlier we were getting first try victories on basically everything. But now we're losing at least a couple times to every single boss. Godfrey charging up his big slam attack almost takes us into phase 2, and just a few more hits will do the trick. Now, thankfully, we are getting pretty close to a poise break, and that'll bring us right into phase 2. Unfortunately, that was a bad time to get a poise break. I would have liked it at the beginning of the second phase, but it is what it is. Okay, so for this fight, it turns out third try wasn't charmed. And I wasn't even fast enough to quit out before we died. So, like our third attempt, we managed to get a poise break right before the second phase on our fourth attempt, which is why we spawned so far away, and we managed to dodge his first few attacks pretty easily. So for this fight, the most consistent way to win, at least for me, is to play like a coward. I run away whenever he's doing something scary, and when it looks like he has an opening coming up, that's when I'll go up and try to hit him. I find that if you're playing super close the entire fight, it's really easy to get caught up in his combos and get absolutely destroyed. So running away definitely helps with that. It also helps when he goes into his fourth set of attacks. I don't know if I would call this a phase really, but when he starts to do the ground slam attack, that helps because it gives us a couple more openings that we can take advantage of. But thankfully we heal up to full and we managed to get a couple more hits off, taking him down into the red. We really just need one more decent opening and we can use our Ashavor to finish him off, hopefully. We'll see, I don't know if I want to risk that. Maybe we'll just do some jump attacks. Oh god, please don't hit me, I'm sorry. We get one final poise break and finish this fight off with style. Alright, only a couple more to go. Well, actually more than a couple. We have Radagon, we have Mohg, we have Lich Dragon Fortissax, and Malenia. And Rykard. So 5. That's kind of a lot. What's crazy is that we're barely over halfway done. This is a big game. Yeah, Radagon took us out a couple of times, that's for sure. And even the Elden Beast had some fun with us. Yeah, love that grab attack. Especially when he has literally no health left and one more hit would have taken him down, but it's fine. Everything's fine. And one final loss brings us into the winning run. Now, I actually have a lot of fun fighting Radagon. I wasn't playing too well here, but I still had fun. Teat actually has one of the best movesets to use the deflecting hard tier on. And he doesn't really have that much poise, so getting a poise break on him isn't too difficult either. So, yeah, with that in mind, this is definitely one of my favorite fights in the game. Elden Beast, however, it's alright. I'm sure you can tell, but the bosses I like to fight are more hand-to-hand combat. So Radagon, Radahn, Malenia, Midra. I think that's about it. Yeah, those are definitely my 4 favorites. Godfrey, they're top 5. Yeah, and what they all have in common is they have melee movesets, and it's easy to dance around them and deflect them. Well, maybe not easy, but satisfying when you learn it. Anyway, we do manage to get a sick poise break on Radagon right here, taking him down to about a quarter health. This is going pretty well. We still have half of our healing, which is good. And I'm finally thanking the gods, or Miyazaki, for making sure that these swords deal magic damage rather than holy damage. Because good lord, that would suck against these two. They still resist magic, just not as much as holy. Anyway, we take Radagon down, and that is the first phase of this fight. And it gives us a perfect opportunity to set up a Lord's Divine Fortification for the Elden Beast fight. And that just increases our holy damage negation by a lot, so it's great. Easily one of the best defensive spells in the game, or incantations. So we start off the fight by going for some heavy attacks on the Elden Beast in order to try and get a poise break. But It doesn't work too well. Yeah, for whatever reason, these things just don't really deal that much poise damage. And I hit him like a bunch with no luck. But thankfully, most of their damage comes from the physical side, which is pretty decent. The damage per hit is not bad at all. And I'm gonna let you guys enjoy the rest of this fight in peace, because I've been speaking a lot during this video. Cool. Elden Beast is down. Now that takes us to Rykard. And I did plan this ahead of time, so we are using the bow for this fight because it is next on our list of weapons, and Rykard is next on our list of bosses, so it just happens to work out pretty well. We take out another Godskin Noble, so that's fun, and run through Volcano Manor to get to Rykard's arena, and the fight that I've been dreading for this entire run so far. And yeah, I buffed up my vigor here. I forgot that we have like 4 other bosses. I thought that it was just Rykard and Malenia. That's why I did my vigor now. But yeah, that's why it's not a full rule. Anyway, Radagon's Rain does really good damage against Rykard. So this is definitely not going to be the worst Rykard fight we've ever had. That being said, I quickly learned that 30 arrows isn't nearly enough to get the win. And it took me more than a few tries to figure out the right way to fight this guy from a range. And I never could figure out how to dodge that attack right there. I used to know at one point, but that time is long past. And I also learned that I despise his first phase, and I much prefer his second phase, just because of that one attack. But after a couple tries, I learned that it is best to just run away, and then use the rain of arrows whenever we get a decent amount of distance between us and him. And this fight took so long. Every attempt took so long. And we would run out of arrows sometimes, and we would have to farm at Mohg Palace to get more arrows, and then go to the Round Table Hold to buy the arrows, and then even with a max 30 Radahn spear arrows, we'd wouldn't have enough damage to take him down in the second phase. So we would have to go craft more great arrows, and such a chore. That's exactly what this boss fight is. A chore. I hate it. I hate it. If we could use the Serpent Hunter, it'd be fine. But we can't. So I hate it. We are speeding up this first phase just to save us all some time and sanity, honestly. And I also learned one other thing during this fight, and that's that I didn't have enough mana. I had to switch over my flasks. I had to use like 10 mana flasks and stick to 4 healing flasks. So, yeah, that was rough. This entire fight was rough. With enough uses of our Ash of War, we do manage to get some poise breaks though, so it's not too bad. It could be worse. I'm gonna keep complaining because this fight sucks. And I learned in the second phase that it is even more important to just run and then turn around and hit him with some Ashes of War. And that worked really well because his attacks were a lot less annoying than in the first phase. So that's definitely the strat. Or, hear me out, just use Serpent Hunter. Yeah, you don't even need to upgrade it. And you can wield it no matter what your stats are. So yeah, right here is where I learned that we didn't have enough mana or enough arrows to finish this fight. So I just left. And again, it only took us a couple attempts to learn how to do this just because the fight was so long that it gave me a lot of time to figure it out during the fight, but I got a bunch of arrows, I swapped over my cerulean tier flasks, and we managed to take him down without too much trouble. It took time, but not too much trouble. Next on our list is Lich Dragon Fortissax, and we need to go to the Carrion Study Hall and place the statue down, fight another Godskin Noble, and then head to the top of the tower to grab a Curse Mark of Death, which we then bring to Fia right here. She talks to us a bunch and hugs us, which, man, a hug would be so nice right now. And then we enter her deathbed dream and fight the Lich Dragon Fortissax. Also, keep an eye out for the sky in the background. It is so cool. It's like straight out of frickin' Van Gogh. It's awesome, and I love it. I just noticed that like this time, or maybe the last time that I fought Fortissax. Really cool skybox in this fight. So yeah, this isn't the most difficult fight. Fortissax doesn't have a huge amount of health, and well, we do. We have like 45 vigor, which is a lot for us. And we have fantastic armor, so we can just tank through basically everything. And our Ash of War Starcaller Cry does really good damage against him too. Kind of hard to hit sometimes, but overall, pretty good. So that was the strat. Get right under him by one of his feet, use Starcaller Cry, and chunk him down. Tank through all of his attacks that we suck at dodging, and rinse and repeat. Fun fight. I'm really looking forward to the Dragon Priestess run. I'm going to start recording that tomorrow probably. I'm almost done with editing this, so I'll start recording that tomorrow, and yeah, it'll be so cool to use incantations rather than just melee weapons. Might be more difficult, but it'll be fun. To this day, I look back on my Dragon Communion spell only run with the Rock Heart as one of the most unique and fun runs that I've ever done. It also got a ton of views because that was right when Shadow of the Erdtree came out. The voiceover isn't as good as this one. But you know, I was still finding my voice back then. Still am. Anyway, with our whole tank through damage and use Ash of War when we can strategy, we take Fortissax down to just about one hit. And after many, many hours, we can finally get another first try victory. It's been a minute. I definitely needed this. And after Fortissax, it's just Mohg and Malenia, so we're really close. This has been a pretty fun run. And one more Starcaller Cry takes Fortissax down. After that, we have to do White Mask Vare's questline, so we talk to him, invade a dude, take this maiden down and steal her blood, give that blood back to him, he injects our finger with something, and then we get to take him down because I just don't like him. He's pretty big and mean and dumb, and then we go fight Mohg. Yeah, I've fought Mohg probably more than any other boss in the game at this point because he's the gatekeeper to the DLC. So I'm pretty confident with this fight. Yeah. We're using our Promised Consort sword for this, and that should be good during his phase transition to get off some noise damage. And I don't know why, but I just straight up get destroyed by his first couple of attacks. Wow. Wow. Why do I suck, dude? Jesus. Just dodge. Hit dodge. What are you doing? Dude, I'm stressed out just watching this. Anyway, I did grab Mohg's Shackle during the last run in the sewers, so that actually came in handy here. And the charged heavy attacks from this weapon do a metric ton of damage, so that is pretty exciting. So I guess the strategy that day was pretty similar to Fortissax. Rather than, dodging and counterattacking, I would just tank through everything and then counterattack whenever I could and get hit in the process. Using Mohg's Shackle was also a great crutch, highly recommend it, and it took us into the second phase without too many issues. Promised Consort does decent damage, but during the phase transition he has a lot of damage reduction, so we can't really get too much off on him. It's a great time to do bleed attacks on him during that phase transition, but obviously these weapons cannot apply bleed, so we couldn't take full advantage of that transition. So we get Mohg down to like barely any health, but that's when I just mess up and just die. Yeah, I just died. Attempt 2 goes pretty similarly. No nuance to the fight, just tank through everything and hit him back. But I guess that is Radahn style, so I'm cool with it. The main difference between the first and the second attempt is that I did even worse the second attempt. Rather than having 2 healing flasks at this amount of health for Mohg, I had 0. So that's fun. And don't worry, I know I'm being hard on myself here, but I think it's funny to laugh at my failures. I don't think I actually suck at this game. Anyway, we managed to take Mohg down, and that was a pretty cool finish too. So I grabbed the first half of the secret medallion from the Albinauric village, and head over here to Castle Sol to grab the second medallion, and the Commander Nile boss fight went really well. We managed to take him down on our first try. I was finally feeling good at the game again. So that was nice. In fact, after we got to the consecrated snowfield, we breezed right through there, finished the Ordina Liturgical Town puzzle, that's what it's called, very quickly, and got into the Hallowed Tree without any problems whatsoever. Also, we breezed through the Hallowed Tree without any problems. I mean, I got hit by a couple of attacks here and there, of course, but we didn't even die. That was great. Finally gaining some momentum again. Loretta wasn't a problem, and we ran right past everything. And by the way, is it just high poise that allows us to run straight through this? I feel like normally I'm slow walking through all this Scarlet Rot stuff, so is it the poise that makes the difference? I'm guessing it is. I never wear good armor in this game. Anyway, we made it down to Malenia. Okay, so this is a software I use to edit my videos. The green on top, that's the Malenia fight. The blue is the rest of this video, like, cut together. So, yeah, about an hour of video, about an hour and 35 minutes of Malenia fight. So yeah, just that fight was longer than this entire video. In fact, throughout the entire run, we died 27 times. for the Malenia fight, we died 26 times. So we're just gonna go ahead and skip to the winning attempt. Gotta do this right now, so if you guys want to subscribe, that would be awesome. It would help me out so much because it would allow me to make even more better content for you guys. I want to be able to do this for a part-time job, and I don't currently make enough money through YouTube to do that. But hopefully we can soon. And to all of you who are subscribed and who just come back and watch these videos every week, you are amazing. Just like I said at the beginning of this video, I love you all. I truly mean that. So a couple things about this fight. It really only took a few guard counters to break Malenia's poise. So that makes this fight really, really fun. Also, she gets staggered by a lot of our attacks. The only problem is whenever we do use our deflecting hard tier, she does, still get some health back. So we have to outpace her healing with our attacks, which isn't too difficult because our attacks do a lot of damage per hit, especially when we can get a riposte. Dodging Malenia's waterfowl dance is always a problem as well, but as long as we have some distance from her, we're fine. And fighting her so much, it's kind of easy to tell when she's about to go for one. That being said, we did get caught up in a couple of her waterfowl dances and, lose to them, but that's par for the course when it comes to Malenia. Anyway, enjoy the rest of this video. This is a really fun fight. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. So with that, we've completed the run. And the entire thing took roughly 8 hours and only 53 deaths for all remembrances. That's really not too bad in the grand scheme of things. This definitely isn't my favorite build that I've ever used, but it's also not the worst by any means. It was pretty effective. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this sort of content and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. If not, your viewership is always enough for me. Thank you for watching, and I hope y'all have a good one. Peace.